Yeah, so when you're communicating with these kids, you definitely want to keep in mind that you're being respectful. You always want to be respectful at all times. I know sometimes it may feel like, okay, why do I have to respect the kid? But like honestly, like just do it. Like it'll just make your job so much easier. Like just respect them. Just come at them respectfully. They'll receive you and they'll come back at you respectfully, and then they'll just be cool. Like just keep that in mind. Like and trust me, no one likes to be talked to like they're a child. Even now as an adult and someone comes at you crazy and say, "Well, don't talk to me like I'm a kid." Exactly. Talk to me like I'm a kid. You shouldn't be talking to kids in that way either. Just shouldn't. That's why they come back at you like that. Just shouldn't. You gotta be respectful. But you also had to let them know who's boss. Like I said, you don't want to be a pushover. Never. Just have a balance. Like just be understanding. Be understanding. Be authoritative. Yeah, authoritative. And be understanding. Building trust is also extremely important. And I kind of touched on that a little earlier, but I'm going to say it again. You want to make sure that you build trust. Build trust. You want your students to know that you care about them. You want your students to know that you want them to succeed. You want your students to know that you have high expectations for them. You want your students to know that if they have a problem, you're going to do your best to solve it. Like, you want your students to know that you have to build that trust. If your kids feel like they can trust you, the outcome is going to be so beautiful because there's not going to be anything that those children wouldn't do for you if they know that they can trust you. They'll do anything for you if they know that they can trust you. So just make sure that you build that trust. Anything that you say you're going to do, make sure you do it. Don't say you're gonna do something and then don't do it. Like sometimes I know it's easy to forget. And some things you do forget, but like the stuff that really counts that you said you were gonna do, you better do it because if not, they're not gonna trust you. And if they don't trust you, they're not gonna cooperate with you. It's gonna be more behavior problems, just more distractions, everything. And again, that's gonna be cutting into your time. And then what's gonna happen to your instruction? So all that stuff, it goes hand in hand. Like you have to think about all of those things. You really do. So it's part of the struggle. Okay, so determining appropriate consequences is huge. Like I understand, like a lot of times we just say the first thing that comes to our mind. Like it's like that go-to punishment. It's like that go-to consequence. Like you just say the first thing that goes to your mind, but sometimes like that consequence that you're doing is really not effective and it's actually restricting a child. Again, that's going back to making sure that the environment is at least restrictive. That goes along with consequences too. You want to give them consequences that are going to help them rehabilitate their behavior, not consequences that are going to just isolate them from the classroom or, just make them do some task that is just like doesn't relate to what they did. It's like they're not going to learn anything from it. Like, no, you want to make sure that whatever consequence you set for any undesired behavior, you have to make sure that consequence is appropriate. You have to make sure that it aligns with the behavior, and you have to make sure that it gives the students a chance to rehabilitate themselves and, correct that behavior. Like that's what the whole point of consequences is. You're putting that consequence in place because you don't want that behavior to happen again. You're not putting that consequence in place just so the kid can get out of your hair for a little bit and you can continue teaching and they come back to the learning environment and they're still distracting you. Like, that's not smart. That's counterproductive. What you want to do is you want to actually take the time to nurture that child. Actually give them a consequence that's really going to make them learn and give them a chance to reboot. Give them a chance to like get rid of that undesired behavior and bring in some of that positive behavior that we all want as teachers. Alright, and the last thing I want to talk about in this video is understanding the misunderstood. Now, there are going to be kids in your class, or there probably are kids in your class right now who you just don't get, like you just don't understand them. You just don't know why they do the things that they do. They might have like a behavior issue. They might have like a bad habit that you just can't understand. Like it might be weird to you. Like, I don't know. You just might have a kid in your class that you just don't understand. the best thing for you to do is to get to know that kid. The kid that you don't understand, the kid that you just don't get, that's the kid that you try to understand. That's the kid that you try to get to know the most. Try to build some type of relationship with them, because while you might have a certain outlook on them, or your own opinion about them, it may be a whole lot more to that person that you don't even know. But once you get the chance to learn that student, once you get the chance to talk to that student, have a conversation with that student, you'll see that that child may not be that weird, or it may be something that's going on in that child's house that's affecting, their behavior, or, you know, making them misunderstood. There could be some type of insecurity that they have within themselves that could be making them feel that way. You never know. So if you get to know the kids, if you get to know the ones that you just don't understand, maybe you might understand them, and then things will look different for you and for them. Things will look totally different. So just get to know your students. Like, get to know all of them, but especially the ones that you just don't understand. Like, you really want to get to know them, because they're probably going to be your most interesting students. And they're going to also open your eyes and give you more experiences, so that you know how to deal with those type of students in the future. You know what I mean? So it's all learning experience. Never, as a teacher, you should never miss an opportunity to learn. Even if it's about your students, you should always learn about them, because you never know how what you learn from that one student can impact the whole rest of your career. So you never want to just feel like, I'm the teacher, you're the student, do what I say. Like, you want to be in the learning experience with them too. Like, you want to learn too. You want to learn more too. You want to grow more too. You want to assess yourself too, the same way you're assessing the students. So just get to know your students. Like, really do that, because it can really help you out a whole lot in the long run.